Hi and welcome to North London TV. I'm Roseanne.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome back to North London TV. North London TV is a lifestyle programme that celebrates everything that's great about North London. Steve and I were both born, grew up and now raise our own families in North London, and we just want to show you all its best bits and all that it has to offer.
So on today's show we'll be speaking to Shampolina, who is a letting expert. I'll be talking about how you choose that right agent to make sure you get the best price for your home. We'll be at Meet London learning how to debone a chicken, and then we'll be doing our area guide on Wembley.
So in this episode's big interview, Steve went down to visit Shampolina, a landlord expert. Who is Shampolina?
So Paul's had his own company for many years, and he's helped thousands and thousands of landlords get their tenants out who haven't paid their rent and they've had problems with. So rather than going to a solicitor, he set up a company to help agents and to help landlords get that eviction process done quicker and a lot more crisper.
Well, I think this is going to be a really educational piece.
Hi, today I'm with Paul Shampolina, who is the founder of Landlord Action and is brand ambassador for Hamilton Fraser. So Paul, tell me a little bit how you started the business and tell me a little bit about why you started the business.
So, I've been helping landlords, I worked out the other day, 27 years.
Okay.
You're supposed to say I don't look old enough.
You don't?
Thank you. Right, okay, I had brown hair, now I've got grey hair. So I've been helping landlords for all those time. My background was legal, and then what happened was, 20 years ago, 2000, I can't believe it's 2020, 2000, we started Landlord Action.
Okay.
Myself and my former partner Johnny, who you remember, sadly, who passed away. We started it because we were fed up with lawyers charging too much money.
Yeah.
So I've been helping landlords doing landlord and tenant, doing possession gates. So we did fixed fees and a free advice line. So that was 20 years ago. To date, we've most probably done the best part of over 40,000 instructions. And but 3 years ago, I sold Landlord Action to a bigger company called Hamilton Fraser. And Hamilton Fraser, we own some well-known brands in the private rental sector, such as My Deposits, a deposit scheme, the Property Redress Scheme, Client Money Protect, Landlord Zone, Total Landlord Insurance. So we've got a big organisation here in Bournemouth, and we've got over 215 staff.
Okay. I guess you timed it quite well, but obviously there was a big boom with the buy-to-let.
Yes.
And then there was a lot of landlords which didn't quite follow the process as they should, and then so it came back to companies like yourself sort of with their tails between their legs because they hadn't used the right agent at the right time. And
correct, and that is the biggest problem. I still have that education aid, that's why I wrote the book The Landlord's Friend, to try and educate landlords. And obviously you think about when we started and when we first started knowing each other, and obviously I remember when you started the business at Benjamin Stevens, how the legislation has changed now, how much more difficult it is for landlords. You know, you just got to look at the market.
But the agents have probably got better over the years.
They have got better. I mean, look, you're in an organisation here that we act for 16,500 letting agents. Yeah. What I do is I run the education for the group. So we have just launched HF Assist, which is letting agent advice line.
Okay, brilliant.
We do HF Live, which you've turned up, which we do letting agent events and corporate landlord events with CPD points as well. So, you know, I do, you know, the advice I have for landlords, and I had this when I spoke at your event, Steve, is a landlord has to put a price on their time.
Yeah.
You know, there's now, I think we're up to about 177 rules and regulation in renting your property. Do you know what they are?
I've got a few of them.
But I don't know what they are either, but there is a lot.
Yeah.
And actually, it's easier to obviously use a letting agent that's accredited.
But I think the biggest problem is landlords want to spend as little money as possible, but want so much. And I think it's a case of educating landlords out there to make them understand that you pay for what you get.
And actually, what does a letting agent do? If I turn around and say to a letting agent, how much time do you spend during a term of a tenancy? You know, they spend hours and hours, not just obviously the administration doing the viewings, but the compliance. What you do as a letting agent, you protect the landlord from not being sued.
I don't think a lot of landlords realise how much.
But that's down to the letting agents.
Of course.
If you don't, the letting agents are unsung heroes. They don't shout and scream about it enough. And that's what I try and do is try and build their confidence. But in 18 months' time to 2 years' time, approximately, every letting agent will have to be accredited and
But that's the best thing
regulated.
that will ever happen to this business.
Most definitely.
And it
100%.
goes backwards. It'll be better for the landlords because the agents will be better. It'll be better for the tenants because the landlords will be better.
And they
what
get
will
better
happen,
service.
And what will happen is you'll get the bad tenants out, you'll get the bad landlords out, and you'll get the bad agents out. And then letting starts becoming a proper business like it is in other countries.
Yeah, 100%. What's going to happen is the private rental sector market is like what happened in the insurance market 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It is becoming more regulated. It's 22% of our marketplace. You've got 1.9 million landlords. You've got 4.5 million dwellings, okay? You've got all these various subsections of the private rental sectors coming up, like the short-term lets and all that type of stuff. But you will always get bad tenants.
Yeah.
You will always get bad agents. You will always get bad landlords. It's all about the enforcement.
Yeah.
As a landlord, you want a peace of mind. You want to make sure your rent's paid. You don't want any void periods, and you don't really want to get the calls that there's loads of obviously maintenance issues. But it is what it is, and there is challenges because of the tax changes and stuff like that. But buy to let, it still works. It's harder to get better yields.
Yeah, of course. One of the things I've always said to my landlords is, you want to be able to choose your tenants. You don't want your tenants to choose you. What you don't want is desperate tenants who will overpay. And every time a landlord gets a little bit more than they really should, what we have is problems. And once landlords understand that actually the most important thing is looking after your property, getting good tenants at the right price, and putting it on at a price that you market it at the right price.
And don't get a void.
And you don't get a void, but what you get is, at the right price, you get free tenants who want to take the property.
Yeah.
And you can make that choice.
100%.
When you overprice, actually, you've got that 110, you're like, I take it. I haven't even told you his name yet, but I'll take it. And that's the problem with the lettings market.
I totally agree.
No, you look after your tenants look after you.
Most definitely.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Paul.
Pleasure.
Well, I've got to say, I don't know that much about lettings, but that really gave me the basics.
Yeah, look, I think the great thing with that interview is, Paul and me have got the same sort of views on the business, and I think you could really see that we're both sort of coming from the same place.
Yeah, I mean, the whole legal, so it's not just about kind of renting your property out to somebody, there's a lot of legalities around it.
There's a lot of legalities, and, obviously Paul's done a lot of TV, and one of the things I think you see is the slum landlords out there, and, those landlords give everyone, a bad reputation, and you look after your tenants, then it comes back, and those landlords just don't look after their tenants, and that's what happens when you don't look after your tenants.
It must be hard because you've got to fight that bit harder when you are kind of a genuine agent who does look after their clients.
Well, you're feeding off everyone's bad reputation. You say to people you're in property and you're a landlord, people give you that look, and one thing Paul's done great is expose the bad landlords and also show the good landlords how to deal with their situations.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're moving on now from one expert to another. We're back to Steve, and this time he's going to be talking about how to choose the best estate agent.
One thing I commonly get asked for people who have got properties to sell not in my area or even in my area is, which agent should I be choosing? So what is it you need to look for? Most importantly, you need to get on with that agent. You need to feel that if you ask a question, they are going to give you an honest answer. Secondly, you need to go onto an agent's website and see how they present properties. Have a look at their details and see what type of quality they've got. Have they got good pictures? Have they got floor plans on every property? And how easy is it to use to go on their website and navigate around? Then what you need to be looking at is maybe a website like All Agents, a review for the agents. Have a look at the reviews, see if they're good and bad and indifferent. Go on Rightmove, see how many properties they've actually got in your area. So put in your postcode, do half a mile around and see if they are actually selling properties in your area. Lastly, the biggest problem for a lot of people is they're so worried about fees. And this just makes my mind boggle. People moan about, I'll go with that agent because they were cheaper. You're getting it completely wrong. They're not cheaper, their fees are cheaper. The most important thing is at the end of the day, you come out with the best amount of money. So if one agent's charging you 1%, but they're going to get you $450, and another agent's going to charge you 1.5%, but they're going to get you $500, they're worth that extra little bit of money, and you've just made an extra £50,000. So ignore what their fees are and work out your bottom line. Choose an agent you trust and make sure you do your research.
Some really useful tips there.
Thank
you
you,
do
Roseanne.
know your stuff.
I like it when you're nice to me.
Not surprisingly, given that that's your industry, but
This is also true.
it was sounded
Something
nice.
which isn't my industry is
Yes.
deboning chicken.
Well, that's what we're moving on to next. Good link there.
Thank you.
So Steve and I went to visit Meat London in Stoke Newington, and we were taught some very useful tips about how to debone a chicken.
Hi there, right, I've been joined by Roseanne and Paul's going to show us a few things and a few tips to help us in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Very excited about this.
Good.
Like cooking.
Well, I think we're going to start by having a look at the chickens, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, there's two ways, obviously. We can serve the chickens whole, or we can cut them into their parts. And this is just a standard free-range chicken. It's about 1.4 kilo. It cuts into nice sizes for portion. The easy thing to know about chicken is there's no real chopping and sawing. You cut through the joints. So the first thing to do is take the wing off. And there we are, straight through the joint. It's not difficult. And the other thing to make sure your butcher is aware, or they should be telling you, is this muscle here at the top of your leg, or top of your bottom of your back, where it is what they call the oyster. And this is the sweetest, most delicious part of the chicken. So when you're taking the leg off, it's very important to know your butcher gives you the
Didn't know that.
oyster as well. So there we are. We break the skin. Haven't cut through any meat at this stage. Just with the point of our knife, the bone is concave. And we put it in there and we cut it round.
So what are you feeling for?
I'm going to show you that. Look, so that bone there is completely concave, and there is a circular. That's the muscle that we were feeling.
Yeah. And
it's very, very important. This is, if I could sell that by the kilo, happy days. It's delicious.
Yeah.
You'd love to have that tossed off in a pan with a little bit of olive oil.
Do you often carve a chicken, Steve?
No.
That's that one.
I don't think I've ever carved anything.
Because we're all symmetrical, aren't we? The animals are symmetrical. There's that oyster again.
Yeah.
Same thing. We get to there, knife inside. Make sure we get right into that concave of the carcass. The muscles.
So you're following
on
the
there.
line, basically.
Yeah. And there you are. We've really cut no chicken. We just take that piece off. That's the two legs. It's always the other thing that is you can test your butcher. You get much more meat, certainly when it's cooked, you get much more meat off of the carcass if you take the wishbone out before you start.
All right.
All right?
Okay.
So I take the wishbone out. There we are, look, simple as that. The wishbone's gone.
Perfect.
I'm going to show you two ways of producing the breast. So the first thing we do is what we call a supreme, which has the skin on, and
you follow the line of the...
right down the line of the carcass. Breastbone, and then I come straight down. The wishbone's gone, so there's nothing stopping me cutting through. My knife is just on the point. Through the joint of the wing, and again we follow the carcass. So this is what we call a chicken supreme. Okay.
Because that's got the.
It's got the skin on it and the little wing.
Yeah.
If we wanted to skin the chicken to take the fillet. We can just lift the skin off. It just comes off. The difference in taking the skin on and taking the skin off is how you're going to cook the chicken. The skin protects the meat when you're cooking to direct heat. If you're going to make a saute or a stir fry or something, then we take the skin off because you're never going to eat it. You don't want you're going to put the chicken into the pie. You don't want skin inside. And then we remove the breast in exactly the same way. Just cut down the line of the carcass, and then follow it through. Cut down there. Look, I mean, it'll make a lovely stock. It might even make a good soup, but we're not wasting any meat that we've paid good money for. So we've got the chicken supreme, the chicken fillet, the chicken wing, and a two leg.
So now I expect you to come round to my house, do
I'm
this.
sure
and
you do.
I'll make the barbecue. You cut the chicken.
Fine, deal.
That was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun, and really useful tip about the wishbone. I didn't even know about that.
You know what? I've been trying that a few times.
It works.
I've got scattered chicken. No, not for me. It doesn't.
It
I'm
does
still
work.
struggling.
I've cold chicken
I think I need
since
to go
then.
back and have another lesson.
Maybe you should. So for our next item, we have our area guide, and this time we're going to be talking about Wembley.
Hi, my name's Amma. I'm your local North London property expert, and I'm going to be talking about Wembley. In Wembley, the average three-bed house price is about $550, and your two-bed house price is about $350,000. The transport links in the area are the Jubilee line and the Metropolitan line, and the local landmarks in the area are, of course, Wembley Stadium and the London Designer Outlet, which is a very large shopping centre.
Brilliant. Did you know Wembley's one of my favourite places?
I'm sure it is. Why?
Why? Because that's where QPR got promoted. 90th minute.
It is
Zamora,
famous.
top goal.
It's famous for Wembley Stadium, obviously, but you know it's close to so many things. around there.
The amazing thing is, when we go to Wembley as a QPR fan, not often, but on our odd occasions, you don't realise how good the transport links are
Yeah,
there.
they really are. They
And
really are.
you know, the area itself, you know, has expanded. There are new build flats being built everywhere. Like, it is a city within a city now.
And of course, the shopping centre, the outlet centre.
It always comes down to a shopping
Always comes
centre
back
with
to
you.
shopping. It is really good. You should go down and try it. So thanks very much for watching. That's it for this episode. If you want to find out any information about any of the items, or you want to find out and taking part in our next series, then just follow the link below. Thanks very much for staying tuned. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.